Explain to me who you were driving with that night when you had that accident.
When I was driving, I was in my Ford Mustang 5.0. I was with my one of my best friends. I consider maybe a handful of my friends, my brothers, my best friends, but he was one of the top two, and his name is Mark. And I grew up with him. I was friends with him. Well, not really friends in the beginning, but we grew up from kindergarten onwards, and we became much closer and better friends. I would say probably 10th or 11th grade, because he was with his crew, you know, jocks, Japs at the same time, rich, preppy white kids, pretty much. That's what we called them, Japs at the time. And he started hanging out with us, and, we became great friends. Our friendship became even better as time went on. I guess we toughened him up in some respects because he was a little bit smaller than all of us. And he was in the car with me. We were actually hanging out in Flushing at the time. And then we were on the way back. We came back to my house. We washed and waxed my car. Then we went out again to go blaze with somebody. And on the way back, I guess after a couple hours on our way back, that's when I crashed my car. All I remember is his mother calling. And at that time, to have a flip phone, at the time it was Motorola's first flip phone, you had to have some money to have a phone like that. So I remember his mother calling and asking where I was or where we were, and we were on the way to his house. And then after that, just blacked out. And
What do
then
you remember before the blackout? What's the last thing?
all I remember was being really pissed off. I had neon lights under each side of my car, under the doors, and I had turquoise neon lights, which wasn't in New York at the time. It was only from Florida. And I remember my driver's side neon light went out, and I was really upset about it because, I'm scrounging to get gas money and pay insurance, and at the same time trying to maintain my car and hook it up with whatever. And I was really upset. I didn't know what I was going to do. And that's it. His mom called. Right after that, blacked out. And, all I remember is, I thought, all I remember is crying in the background, my mom crying,
This is when you woke
praying.
up.
No, this is when I was in a coma. So I was in a coma for about probably 2.5 weeks. And all I remember is the beeping, all the machines on, people coming in and out. I don't know if I can see it, but I can hear it. And from what I'm hearing, I can see it, you know.
You're imagining, right?
I don't know if it's imagining because I remember people and their faces in and out. All I hear is my mother crying and praying, and doctors giving her news. He may or may not make it. Prepare for a funeral. If he does make it, he's going to most probably be a vegetable for the rest of his life, and he's going to need care for the rest of his life. It looks like, anything could happen. To be optimistic, but it doesn't look too good. Finally, I came to, but at the same time, I didn't know what was going on because I had massive head trauma. I was in a lot of pain. I was pretty much drugged up, and everything was a dream, just like I was underwater. And, I didn't know what to expect, where I was going. I didn't know if I was dead already hearing this. So, all I'm wondering is, what's going on in my mind? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I in so much pain? Finally, with a lot of help from respiratory and, all the doctors that were coming in and out.
Well, when you first woke up and you started like putting pieces together, like what were you experiencing that time? Was it like,
Oh man,
were you afraid?
I don't know. I was afraid, but sorry. I was afraid because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I already died or, you know, because it was just so weird because, I never experienced something like that in my life. I don't know anyone that's experienced something like that in my life. And All I know is while in a coma, I thought I was dead. Finally came to, and I had a tracheostomy in my throat because my ribs broke. And, I had obviously problems breathing. So that's what the tracheostomy is for. And
Yeah, what were you feeling when you woke up?
pain, pain. As a person that has a high pain threshold, I was in a lot of pain. And I didn't see any of this. I had a sheet over me. So I didn't know what happened. I don't know what happened to my friend. Was somebody else in the car with me? Did anybody else get hurt? I don't know. And I couldn't talk with the tracheostomy. That's when I started freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? What happened to me? And, my mom saw my struggle. I don't remember my father being there toward around that time. I remember him towards the end, but I don't know, man. I just wanted to die. I was like, I can't live like this. I didn't know until the sheets came off. That's when I freaked out. And, I asked about my friend, where's Mark? Is he okay? And they couldn't tell me anything because that might put me back into a coma, the shock. So I kept on asking, and not asking, but my mom made a board, an alphabet board, and I would try to point to the letters, and my mom would have to decipher what I'm saying, which was another pain in the ass because, you know, it's very frustrating looking at each letter, like, shaking, yes, no, I could only barely do that. And finally, my mother's like, listen, son, Mark is dead. He died. And I'm like, which car? Is it my car or your car? They're like, your car. Oh my God. So he's dead. My car is gone. I'm like this. I don't know what's going on. And then, because, at the time, I noticed all my friends would come see me. And then I'm like, where's Mark? I see everybody here, but where's Mark? That's when she told me. And that's when I started flipping out. I started crying. I wasn't right after that. And, I wasn't already right to begin with. Hearing that messed me up even more. I had massive nerve trauma. I had the twitches, I had the shakes and stuff like that. And, and then finally when they showed me, this is what happened to you. You lost your legs, you lost your arm. That's
Did it
when I
seem real
knew.
at first?
Oh, it felt real. I mean, it was real because of the amount of pain I was in. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain because is it a dream? Is it a nightmare? Is this really happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? I went to church. I prayed. I tried to do the right thing. Again, I'm young. I'm 18. I did some stupid shit in my life. I, punked people and stuff like that. But again, I was a good person. And for those I cared about, I was there for them. And people I didn't like, I made sure they knew I didn't like them. That's the type of person I was. And it was just a shock, man. It took some time for reality to set in. And when that reality set in is when, I had to figure out where to go from here. Is it worth it for me to live? Should I end it? Should I, where do I go from here? What am I going to do? Who's going to want this? Well, where can I go in life?